Welcome,
Hello.
one and all, misfits, to this episode of Skeptic and Ranting, debunking all of the best proof of evolution.
It's going to be like a 5-hour video?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Debunk all that?
It's a very in detail, in-depth video, I think, that goes on for hours.
Yeah.
From the channel Answers in Genesis, Canada.
Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada.
I just like how they're branching out, okay?
Randolph hasn't got him shut down yet.
I know. He's
working
tirelessly.
A few more years there.
Sending love to Randolph. We just had fun in an episode that, well, all of them have fun. We had a not Big Bang episode. That's my favorite. Anyway, won't you join James W. and myself, Amy Newman, for a time so good it will apparently only last 12 minutes.
I mean, Amy, 12 minutes is kind of pushing it. You can't really expect much longer than that from your average guy. That's getting to the brink.
I feel like with the consent of your lover, and if we are able to go visit a doctor, I think we can get pills that will make it last over 4 hours. I don't think that this gentleman was able to do that, but that's okay. I was in coming up with titles. I'm like, do I need to include? It gets longer and longer, and then by the time it's in 12 minutes, I went, well, our video sure isn't going to be. And so, the promise and the guarantee. But yes, thank you for joining us on the inner tubes. Please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. I said it. You can let them go now, please. And also, when you hit that bell icon to all, it allows you to see our premieres or join our live streams. Like, what is up, everyone? I had to do clickety-clacking. What is up, Sinister Porpoise? What is up, Conspiracy Kitty? What's up, God equals square root -1? What's up, everyone? Keep on saying hi, and we'll keep on saying it back at you. Or tag us at James W. or at Amy Newman. Yes. There are many ways to support the channel, like sending in super chats, and we'll dance around. I like dancing. I'm much better at karaoke. And channel membership with our evolving badge system, which I like because somehow it becomes our topic. It manifests itself because religion really is obsessed. I have been trying to learn more about biology and ecology, and nonetheless, it's not just me. I think I've become more interested because they're obsessed with it.
But Amy, don't the more you learn, the more you just have this amazing wonder of God.
Exactly.
You have this. You're just amazed at how brilliant and wonderful He is.
Yes, I could feel Him deep. And so we're talking about God, right? Yes. No, it's honestly, and I get from like the creationist view, they're going to say like, well, of course you're going to say what I'm about to just say. But the more you learn about biology, the more evolution makes sense. Like, I truly do not understand, like, how you beat a system of from chemical to very simple to slowly building up to a complex over time, compared to, again, this could be a straw man, but a single agent going Boom. Those are the two models. And so, I don't know. The first one just seems to make more sense.
Amy, it should be poof, not boom.
That's right.
You did the wrong sound effect there. When God did it, he poofed life.
That's right.
Poof.
Oxygen. Anyway, yes.
Just because he designed that system brilliantly so that you'd have to breathe and drink out of the same pipe. You're experiencing problems with that right now.
Can I tell you, and I'm not the first one to bring this up, that there's so many bad elements of design if we were just look at this from a engineering perspective. Listen, I'm happy to be here. I'm glad we have all this stuff going on, like thumbs. But yes, there's a good chance that if you are a mammal, that you could choke on liquid and die because we use the exact same method of transfer. But that's okay. It's actually perfect if you think about it, because that's the way God wanted it to be. Yes. I'm pretty sure. Yes. Can't hope it says DVD number 5. Anyway, yes. Patreon. We also have a Patreon where you can get exclusives and all sorts of fun perks at patreon.com/Amy Newman. There it is. Sending so much love to all of our supporters, including Chris Disciple. Thank you so much, love, Chris. Reminding us we do have theists in the Skeptic Ranting community.
Oh, yes, we do.
I will say, the fact that I'm still a night person, even as I have to get up as early as I do, I don't think I'm ever going to get used to 5 a.m. I know there are people out there, probably like farmers out there, that are like, or people, any type of people. But let me tell you, I don't know if I'll ever be a 5 a.m. person. Anyway.
Like you would never get up then if you didn't absolutely have to.
Absolutely have to. Love the job. Just that time. It's just. Anyway, sending so much love to Azo, reminding us that you, come one as you are, we are the Skeptic and Ranting community. The only thing you need to be part of the community is to be skeptical of your beliefs. That doesn't mean you need to question everything to a point where you don't know anything, because we sometimes get that launched at us. No, we can know many things within
question everything
a relative amount, and things can get challenged if new information comes in. Sending love to Dale Pastel. We're mostly looking for empirical evidence. We'll take arguments because people say, "Oh, is that the only thing?" This is generally how it goes, James. What evidence do you want? Okay, well, we want empirical evidence. Oh, you want empirical evidence? You won't accept anything else? Well, I mean, sure. I mean,
what do you got?
Exactly. But you just asked us what the best thing that we wanted, and that seems to be empirical, testable evidence. Anyway, sending so much love. Also to davegar, reminding us the world is round, and also, equally as important, 4.5 billion years old. If you think that it's 6,000 to 10,000 years old, you're in a cult. And I know that word gets thrown around a lot. And yet, I think that you are taking orders from what would be a leader that would, if in a smaller proportion, would be seen as a danger. If Jesus comes to you, or anyone comes to you and says, listen, if you want to follow me, you need to first sell all your belongings, leave your family, and follow me. Don't do it. Also, if God says, you are my chosen people, run. All of these things are true. What are we talking about? Cults. Anyway, sending so much love to Rachel Holen, reminding us we should not take slaves from the nations around us. We should probably just go out and try dating. If you're into the kinky stuff, I don't know. There's clubs and apps for that, probably. Rentafemboy.com. You probably don't need to take a sword and, kill the men and take the women and children. Also, these are the family values people. At least that's what they claim. Because I talked about that the other day on the Randolph stream, is that I feel like secularists should reclaim family, whether it's blood family, found family. The importance. Yes.
Important things.
Community.
Like the Dukes in Genesis, and they had families, right?
Oh my God.
They never existed, so they probably didn't.
But James, you know who we don't have enough time to give a name? Our favorite, the King of Kings, Pharaoh. But I'm not talking about
why
Pharaoh.
Drop the name? Why drop the name?
It's true.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest with you. I was only talking about Pharaoh. I wasn't talking about Pharaoh, but I was talking about Pharaoh.
If they named the one before or the one after, then you could look in the records and you could kind of find out who he was. But, the Pharaoh's names have been censored to provide anonymity.
But the Dukes of Genesis, that's not the actual. I was trying to make a pun on the Dukes of, I don't think it worked.
The Dukes of Hazzard?
Close enough. Sending love also. The Ducks of Hazzard. Sending love to Ian Davenport, reminding us that we have not come across good apologetic arguments when they come. Pascal's wager is not good. The contingency argument is not good. Kalam is not good, though it will be left and printed on William Lane Craig's grave. I'm pretty sure. That's what it says in his will. Probably. Anyway, sending so much love to Ian Davenport and sending love to Regos, reminding us that we should probably do it next week, James. Because I have, if plans go according, I want to do a midnight ranting this weekend. I get so...
Okay.
I always get so full of energy when I'm in the moment. And I'm hoping that I can stick with that. So that that during the week next week can do a Bible study. So we can get back on our skeptic Bible studies. Because there is no better material for criticizing Judaism and Christianity than reading the Bible. Reading the Torah, the Bible. My goodness.
You're like trying to flip the script, take their strength and make it a weakness.
Well, not to brag / pat on the back, and I have little empirical evidence to back this up, my favorite type, but it just seems like the atheists tend to know the holy books better than a lot of the followers. Not saying of every follower. Some of us study the Bible 18 hours. Yes, they met. Exactly. They met. I said. That's used as an apologetic for why Islam
is true.
Was true, because they were able to memorize it. Or, different take, Muhammad made it up, and thus he was able to memorize it because look at the first premise.
People just read it so many damn times they memorize that shit.
Yeah, well, it was Abu Bakr who was the first caliph, because the moment that Muhammad died, there seemed to be at multiple occasions afterwards power struggles for who was going to lead Islam. That's where Sunni and Shia comes from, because I believe Ali was they wanted to be the successor. Nonetheless, Abu Bakr wrote if you wanted to know who actually wrote the Quran, because they will continue to this day to say that it is an angel. But no, it is just a guy who said that he claims he memorized it from the memorization of Muhammad. Then he wrote it down. Blah, blah, blah.
No. Clearly, the angel came to Joseph Smith with the golden tablets. That's who the angel really talked to.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're all... And he's basically... They're both trilogies. You know, Islam being the third, and then Joseph Smith coming in with the Latter-day Saints.
Because the prophet, he didn't say anything about Reformed Egyptian, so he would not have been able to communicate with the angel because it would have been in Reformed Egyptian.
Do you know what I can't appreciate? Imagine being an Egyptian, just like living in Egypt and like trying to get someone to convert to Mormonism. That would be fantastic. No, you guys, you need to understand. There was Reformed Egyptian. Oh, tell me more. Tell me more.
Sort of like Egyptian, but not. Just a little different.
It's not like conservative Egyptian. It's not quite moderate Egyptian. It's more of... God damn it, James. He sat there and thought about this
like
shit.
The rabbis who eat ham sandwiches and, and do all that stuff. The Reformed.
Exactly. Like my parents. My parents are secular Jews. The only reason my parents don't eat bacon anymore is because my dad is... I was going to say the slang term. He likes health. He's a very healthy person. I was going to add...
The physical therapist, right?
Yes. And, so they eat turkey bacon, unfortunately.
Yeah, for health reasons. And he's not about to convert to turkey bacon. It's just not the same thing.
No. When I ask for a snack, I am not interested in fruit or yogurt.
Or turkey.
Or a nut. Yes. I have eaten a lot of turkey.
You better see that femboy carrying a whole slab to the frying pan. A whole slab of bacon.
Oh, they better. Sometimes have that done. It's a good time. Just have a whole... When I open it, you're probably supposed to just like have 6. But I generally have like... Instead of a whole portion, they've broken me down... to just a half a pack of bacon.
Yeah.
But sometimes, if the whole family's eating, James, nothing brings them better than a whole thing of bacon. By the way, if you didn't know, our new sponsor, bacon. Yes, if you wondered why we were talking
the other
about
white meat.
The other white meat, yes. Pigs are so smart, which is terrible. Not to go in a dark direction, but they actually can play video games. They can beat humans at very specific games using a joystick. Just crazy.
They should have evolved not to taste so good then.
Oh, let me tell you. Same with chickens. Sorry, chickens. Though the chicken is like the weird success story. It's like, I know this is going to sound very dorky, but the chicken being successful is a very Star Wars Clone Wars. Yes, you're right. We have made them successful, but oh my, what we've made them into. Yes. It's okay. I'm sure they'll be fine. Their breasts are like this now. It'll be okay. They evolve like that, probably. The Colonel told me so.
We wouldn't have turducken without them.
Oh my God. That is the most American food you could have.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. The only thing I could think to make that more American if you said I was frying my turducken. That's the only way I think you could actually...
Like bacon on a lattice pattern on the outside,
There'd be people who'd eat it. Anyway, Thank you to all of our supporters.
Batter the whole thing in batter and deep fry it like a Monte Cristo sandwich.
Oh my god. I forget which comedian said it. It's definitely not the first, but if you dip and deep fry something, anything, I think it was Carlin. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, but like a rat's asshole you could deep fry and there'd be some asshole out there that'd be lining up for him.
It's pretty amazing.
TM him. I've been watching a lot of Carlin lately again. Oh my god, it's been making me want to get back up there. As I
still remember
more
when
time.
When he died, listening to the, who had a meltdown about it was Westboro Baptist Church. I remember Fred putting out a video about George like gloating in his
because that was what they do, famous people. But then of course you're gonna get a fucking comedian who spent most of his life giving the finger to religious people, and but I mean, I would love to be in that group. Once again, if you are in the same group as veterans, maybe not that bad a group to be in. Anyway, I think I guess I'm gonna hand it over to James for a moment, and then we are going to go into. I basically told James. It's not even a shtick. It's just that there were things that I learned upon preparing for this episode that I find very interesting and noteworthy. So we'll get into those as we answer everything in Genesis from Canada. A nicer version, James. A much nicer version. All right. I'll be right back, and then we'll get into it.
Hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving out there. We didn't get to go on the weekend. Amy had her show with Randolph, but we're back today. We're back in the saddle. Got an evolution video. She's been wanting to do it for a while. We're finally getting to it, so here we go. Woohoo Ian. Yeah, the cat just ditched me, but he'll be back. Anyhow, thanks guys for coming along with us. Evolution, Answers in Genesis, Canada. It's been a while since we tried to do anything from Answers in Genesis. Last time they had a copyright like flip out in the middle of our stream. They blocked it from showing, but this is a much shorter clip. So hopefully it'll take a while for the algorithm to catch on and start blocking the content. Last time it was like an hour-long video, like halfway or a third of the way in, they stopped us. The algorithm cut us off. But this one should be short enough to fly under the radar. They won't notice, hopefully. But yeah, if you're expecting some high-level criticisms of evolution, some more maybe nuanced perspectives, not so much. It's mostly the same stuff. Repackaged, restated. The hits. Attacking evolution. Misunderstanding it. Telling you what it's... Building a straw man, then tearing the straw man down. It's what they're good at. It's all they really know. And but it's amusing to watch how they do it. How they try to take apart something that is fact, pretty well factually established, and then try to sow in doubt. Amy often compares it to like legal perspective, and we're dying. She'll be back in just a moment, and we'll get to watch the video. But yeah, they often try to take it like a legal perspective, but it is interesting to look at the arguments they make. And this is a big channel that generates AIG. They're one of the top creationist groups out there. They do have a massive following on that side. So they say and do becomes somewhat important, even as nonsensical as it may be. Yes, Gizmo, he's getting crotchety and whiny in his older age. Meow. Yes. Yes, he's getting... There you go. He's got a preferred way that he wants to sit on my lap, and he's going to sit that way, damn it. But you can't argue with the cat. If you do, you're wasting a bunch of time because you're never going to win. They don't care. Like Chronic, yeah, well, hey. He is... Gizmo is probably 14, coming up on 15, so, you know, he's catted for a long time. He's earned the right to meow when he wants to meow, to, you know, sit where he wants to sit. He's got the street cred among the catties that he pretty much gets to do what he wants by now. But he's a sweetheart and we love him. Amy's got 3 cats in that house. I can't imagine that. One is more than enough. He keeps you busy, scooping litter and dealing with the meows. Oh,
indeed, I do. Indeed. Yeah, this is Buttercup. What is up, everyone? I also forgot to say hi. What is up, Ian Davenport? What is up,
He's definitely
Victoria?
A senior.
And Bronx and
oh God,
Oregon.
Victoria's out there.
And everybody sending so much love. Fenton, what's up? Also, if I ever say your name wrong, if anyone, please correct me. I am so bad at pronunciation. But we will keep on sending love to everyone. We are going to get into the fun. More specifically, we are going to watch a video from the channel Answers in Genesis called Debunking All the Best Proof of Evolution in 12 minutes. Wow. James, we're going to stop believing in evolution in under a 30-minute span. That's incredible.
There you go. We'll never call you that, Fenton.
I have heard that all my life, and I say that. I can't help it. All right, let's get into it.
This is Amy Newman, guys, talking about science. I know. Of all people, talk about science.
I know, and I can't help myself, James. Before actually you made me do it, I forgot.
Okay,
I'm gonna have to not just, but I just want you to know. I don't know if you know this, but science doesn't care what you believe. And once again, who would say, James, the LGBTQ barbecue? They're gonna tell me about biology. They do not understand it. You know what I was also talking about? What I was talking about, Rachel, as we were getting ready, is that the insidious thing about these guys is that they're not dumb enough to know better. I think they do know better.
Most of them, yeah.
They actually are banking that their audience... exactly. My baby girl.
Some of them don't know better.
Exactly. Some of
Red
them...
King doesn't know any better. He doesn't know any better.
Oh, he's still doing God content. I was looking at his the other day with God content. Sending so much love, Brent. All right. Let's get into it. I said I had some fun to talk about, but really, the star of the show, debunking all the best proof of evolution in 12 minutes.
It starts off with a perfectly valid comment. Yes. Of course, they're going to be triggered by it.
That's true. The fossil record proves evolution happened. Don't you idiots understand evolution? Evolution is a fact. That's true. You probably didn't need to call them that, but yes.
Fossil record proves evolution happened. Don't you idiots understand science? Evolution is a fact. No matter what specific topic you're discussing regarding the creation-evolution debate, whenever an article or video is posted where the comment section's open, comments like the ones I just said are sure to appear. And those are some of the nicer ones.
Oh, I bet.
And I want to pause here for just a moment because I can't help but notice that he brought the comment section into the conversation, and I may do the same thing as well tonight. And so let's continue forward because I wanted to see if their comment section was indeed open, and it was.
Well, his green screen game is really on. And that's a nice background. Got the human skull on his bookcase there. Probably just multiple copies of the Bible there.
Well, and I hate to break this into two segments and 2 bits, but I can't help it. Like, we were talking about his suit earlier. Like, this dude's suit, okay? Like, first of all, way too big, but the way that he is situated, I know that you probably don't know the game I'm about to say, but if you wanted to have a BioShock villain.
Yeah. No, I don't.
No, I'm sure he's a lovely gentleman. First of all, I'm just saying he needs to do a different.
And I can honestly see why. Growing up the way I did, with no influence from the church, the Bible, or even any deistic religion whatsoever, the story of evolution was so firmly established in my mind as science and fact that anyone who questioned it seemed rather untethered from reality to me.
Yes.
I found it hard not to view them with intellectual contempt as anyone denying the overwhelming proof of the story of evolution based on facts like dinosaur fossils, ape-man skulls, the 98% similarity between chimp and human DNA, the geologic column, etc. seemed idiotic, to put it bluntly. I truly remember feeling just that harshly towards those I considered what would today be called science deniers. And when you feel that you have the full weight of science and an avalanche of truth in support of your beliefs, any opinion in contradiction to it seems so weak and dismissible as to be beneath serious consideration. And of course, the internet tends to encourage some bad behavior sometimes. I think of it metaphorically like a gang leader that's so sure of himself with all of his backup behind him and help him out whenever he wants. But what if...
I love this because I just like how he picks a gang leader. Okay.
If he spun around to find out that there was no one standing there to rely on? You see, that's just what happened to me when I was finally challenged in my belief in materialism and had to present the evidence in support of it. And when I was asked what the best proofs of evolution I could muster were, I turned around with all this cockiness and confidence I could portray and found out that many of the proofs I'd put my faith and trust in had disappeared without me knowing it.
All right. I would continue, Your Honor, my case in that he asked us to do something very specific. All right, James? He said he wanted us to write down what we thought were the best evidences for evolution because we would be left with nothing. James, our gang would be gone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I ask you at home, maybe just take a moment, your best, my goodness, there's so many things that we could use for evolution. I think the layperson could think of a few. There's that one. We got one. All right. Well, I think these are actually the strongest. I'm looking forward to my gang being destroyed. And without further ado,
a hallmark of evolutionary thinking is the idea of change over time. And this notion certainly plays itself out whenever someone asks the question, what are the best proofs of evolution? Especially if we were to do so throughout history. What if we were to do that from way back in the day all the way up to the 2000s? For example, let's begin by...
Well, that's kind of weird, because why didn't
back
you
in
start...
the day when?
But and he'll give a time frame, but it's... Why wouldn't you start at the most recent or most relevant? Why would you go... Okay.
By asking that question at the time of the launch of the book that's the bedrock of modern evolutionary thought, Darwin's Origin of Species.
Is it going to come from his book?
Well, in 1859, you might have been presented with Neanderthal man as proof of our evolutionary ancestry, even though they'd been found 4 years earlier and had already been declared fully human by a professional anatomist. However, the release of Darwin's book fueled the search for fossils of imagined ape-like ancestors of man in the evolution-believing community. And lo and behold, 4 years later, Irish geologist William King decided to re-examine the fossil skull of Neanderthal man and promptly decided that he was an ape-like creature. And many variations of this idea were propagated as science and fact for well over 150 years afterwards. Today, of course, evolutionists have admitted their true humanity, which is why they're designated as Homo, which means human, Neanderthal.
Yeah, but you know what else is Homo? Homo erectus, Homo ergaster, Homo heidelbergensis, which are clearly not modern humans. They are visibly very different from modern humans. They're still in the same genus, but not the same as modern humans.
Confirmation comes from no less than Dr. Eric Trinkhaus, an evolution-believing paleoanthropologist, considered one of the world's foremost authorities on Neanderthal man, who's concluded detailed comparisons of Neanderthal skeletal remains with those of modern humans have shown that there's nothing in Neanderthal anatomy that conclusively indicates locomotor, manipulative, intellectual, or linguistic abilities inferior to those of modern humans.
And that means they can't be a slightly different subspecies or still within Homo?
I mean, they're still clearly within Homo. They're still clearly very similar, but they are slightly different.
A decent amount of humans have been able to mate with Neanderthals, but that doesn't mean that it's not evidence against evolution.
I mean, you think
or that they were dumb.
Large time scales. The Neanderthal brand died out just within the last 100,000 years. That's the blink of an eye in terms of evolution.
Exactly. We've only been around for 100,000 to 200,000 years ourselves. And we did used to have misconceptions and think that they were maybe dumber than we are. Just to put it bluntly, that humans, unfortunately, sometimes, I see this, I think, often in creationist circles, we just like to put ourselves higher than everything, but all humans can't escape that until we learn through better science that they were just as smart as us. That does not disprove evolution.
Obviously, humans evolving into humans isn't exactly proof of evolution. So you can scratch them off the list.
No, we can't scratch that off. We can't scratch that off. It's perfectly consistent with evolution. You don't scratch that off. Next.
I love his. They have a great. Let me just finish his animation.
Proof.
There you go. They had set up 2 cameras, or they at least had to change for each shot. Let's at least justify. All right, but I can't help it, James. He brought them in. I feel like he kind of brought this on himself. Nonetheless. So, and
I can't see that on my screen.
Don't worry.
Can you guys?
The fact that you told me that means that I can fix that.
Okay.
Can you see it now?
Make sure they can. Yeah, that's a lot better. For just let us know if you can. You guys can see it. Oh, the book thing. It reminds me of Nathan Thompson going into what was at the Target, and he started ripping up like to the book section, like books that showed like the globe, and he just started ripping pages out.
Oh, he's done all sorts of crazy stuff. He has done just screams at people and goes places
Going
he
to
should not go.
The elementary school, screaming at the
playground. At kids.
Yeah. As the kids tell him he's wrong, the earth is round.
But yes, not only did he do this, but this is not only do I say this is a chat GPT answer, an AI answer, and you'll find within this episode through doing research that AI actually plays a key to the story of this video.
Yeah.
And you'll see why later on. I'll show you why later on. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The video suggests that the discovery of Neanderthals were fully human. Somehow undermines the theory of evolution, but this misses the point. Neanderthals and modern humans are two different groups within the Homo genus.
I think the point we were just making before.
Exactly. Neanderthals aren't evidence that we descended directly from apes, but rather represent a separate branch in human evolution. The fact that we could interbreed with Neanderthals and share DNA, like I was just saying, with them actually supports evolution, showing how human species evolved and diverged over time. All right.
Hey, Dale Pastel.
What's up, Dale?
Good to see you, Dale.
Sending so much love.
Positive of evolution anymore. However, moving on to 1861, you may have finally...
Yes, moving on to the cutting edge of scientists and science. Let's go to...
This would be Ken Hoven's slide number 33,624.
Yes.
Pull up my slides on Archaeopteryx. Did you know that that Archaeopteryx, Amy, is not a valid fossil because they were never able to get any impressions of its genitalia. We don't know how long it was, how big it was, and therefore it's probably fake. It probably never existed because how would it reproduce?
And honestly, that's all Ken Hoven really needs to know about evolution. That is to say, he goes out and he measures the size of and then he understands that creationism is true.
Show me the penis. That's the only question I ask when talking to about animals. Show me the penis.
Sending so much, RibsB, sending so much love. If you're a theist or a creationist,
yes,
talk to us.
Link between dinosaurs and birds called Archaeopteryx. Good old Archae was used for decades to convince people that a true transitional fossil between lizards and birds had been found. But alas, in 1977, an admitted true bird was found which...
Wait, an admitted true bird. First of all, birds are dinosaurs. This was a dinosaur that was in between both non-avian and then having feathers and certain characteristics, and then the modern bird that we have today. But okay, continue.
Dates, according to evolutionist methods, at 60 million years older than Archaeopteryx, which means Archae couldn't be a transition to birds.
But wait a minute, Amy. Don't they fake all the dates anyway? So why would they come out and say, oh, this date, why wouldn't they just, it's all fake, right? Why wouldn't they just make it in line with Archaeopteryx being transitional? Why would the scientists put out things that would call that into question? And it doesn't matter the age of Archaeopteryx, the fact that they found a bird that was older than that, because Archaeopteryx had ancestors of itself. Okay, and
But
it's a line that goes back. Maybe Archaeopteryx is not the direct ancestor, but Archaeopteryx and modern birds share a common ancestor.
Exactly. Well, the entire point is that it's going to always be a segment, and there's always going to be a species over here and a species over here.
It still shows that there was an animal in the past that had that characteristics to be able to pass them on to Archaeopteryx, even if it wasn't the actual one that split. And as you well know, Amy, the idea of there being one transitional species is not really, it's kind of an outdated view of evolution. They don't really talk like that anymore. It's much more of a gradual gradient shift than there being one singular transitional species.
Exactly. Their transitional species in and of itself is almost an outdated term because every species is a transitional species.
From lizards if birds already existed. Professor John Ostrom of Yale acknowledged, "We must now look for the ancestors of flying birds in a period of time much older than that in which Archaeopteryx."
The fact that Archaeopteryx, that we found that means
from being some unique.
We can look back, because Archaeopteryx had to have something that came before it, right? That thing had to have something that came before it. You're just zeroing in. And not every species that ever lived will be preserved in abundance in the fossil record. That's just the nature of the beast. Not everything fossilizes. Probably most species will not be preserved in it.
Dino bird, Archae shared much of its supposed unique anatomical structures with true birds that exist today, like the South American Hoatzin, for example. So much for Archaeopteryx as undeniable proof of evolution.
No, it still fits.
That doesn't make it. Why would that not be proof of evolution? Just because you found an older fossil, another fossil, that's just more data. So, the claim that finding older birds, then I'm going to go, Archae disproves evolution is misleading. While Archae may not be the first bird, it is still an important transitional form between dinosaurs and birds. It has features like feathers and teeth, illustrating how characteristics evolve gradually. Finding older birds simply means that there were more stages in bird evolution than previously known, which is expected in science because we learned more.
When they first found it, they thought, okay, this is the transitional species. Okay, now we know that lived millions of years before. We didn't have that data at the time. We're not trying to hide it or make it like it didn't happen. They integrate it fully because it all works. There's no need to hide or suppress anything because it all fits.
Now, by 1868, maybe the most cutting edge
You on mute, Amy?
proof presented to you.
1868, cutting edge, James. We are at the cutting edge.
You might have been.
I mentioned this
shocking
in my debate with Ken
animal
Holen
and human embryos.
Jr. did an entire debate on this topic about a year ago, specifically on Haeckel's embryos, where Kent he slanders. He says he was convicted in this trial. There's no record of it, and even though he remained a professor of comparative anatomy for decades after they supposedly said he was a fraud. But, the truth the truth is not really required when you're working for Jesus.
No, and basically what it comes down to was he crappy at drawing, or could he have been making? I mean, no one really knows. Was no
there deliberate
trial.
Intent to deceive? That's what you wouldn't be able to show.
And it doesn't disprove evolution. It's just the
discovery that humans recapitulated or relived their evolutionary ancestry while developing in the womb. Of course, modern science has shown that the idea that you start off like a worm then become more like a fish, then become an ape-like creature, and finally a human while growing in your mom is absolutely ridiculous and would be laughed at by any educated person.
Yeah, we have learned more. We don't think it just happens
today. And Haeckel's
but there's a lot of similarities. Just saying
these are
that
deceptive pictures that they took to try to make them look very different. You know, like they've got the yolk on the second one there. Why do you have that there? Just to make it look different.
And just because there were frauds doesn't mean that we don't have similarities within embryology with other species, and that isn't evidence for evolution. That it is.
Embryo drawings have now been admitted to being completely fraudulent. Forgeries made by this supposed great scientist's own hand, and the similarity argument has been shown false as well. And yet they were in textbooks up until my youngest daughter was in school just 15 years ago here in Canada.
They're still valid as the history of science.
I was going to say.
Canada.
And
as evolution-believing embryologist Michael Richardson concluded, this is one of the worst cases of scientific fraud. It's shocking to find that somebody once thought was a great scientist was deliberately misleading. It makes me angry. What he, Haeckel, did was to take a human embryo and copy it. These are fakes. So
no,
obviously,
they're not.
These embryo arguments are no longer true.
Nope. Still in the book. We're 0 for 3. Still valid. Still real. Yep.
Says it's true that Haeckel exaggerated his drawings, but this fraudulent evidence doesn't invalidate the entire theory of evolution. Modern science acknowledges that embryology shows patterns consistent with evolution. Even if it's not exactly as Haeckel claimed, it may have been, as James said, maybe it was just exaggerated. It may have just been he wasn't great at drawing. I mean,
there still are lots of similarities between them, even if the embryos don't go through the stages of evolution. There still are many similarities that would not have to be there if they were designed.
Why do they, as research still shows, that many embryos share similarities in early development stages, which points to common ancestry? But all right, let's get to the next one.
Now,
they're like adding scientists to the bottom of the trash just to make it look fuller. He's only thrown like 3 in there, but he keeps getting fuller. That's talk about deception. Talk about fraudulent.
Well, let's talk about fraudulent, because this is an interesting data point, James. I came across something that comes full circle with the comment section and AI and just a lot of things. I was like drawing things on a map, James.
And uses gay eye. It's like Chat GPT, but it's gay.
Yes, it's called Gay PT.
It reads out the answers in gay voice, dubbed by a former YouTuber with a known nasally voice.
But you know, right? Like the only reason you would ask that question. Oh my God. Whatever his therapist gets paid. I'm sending love to this person. They're amazing. They're a sunshine in my life.
A beautiful flower in the garden.
But let's get to this horse series, because this is really nonsense. Again, this is just a thing of better science replacing outdated science.
Finally had the proof of evolution, as the American Journal of Science published an impressive diagram showing the supposed evolutionary development of horses, which found its way into many other publications and textbooks for years. Now, today, this proof of evolution has been abandoned because of the many severe challenges brought against it. For example, if the series were true, you'd expect to find the earliest fossils in the lowest rock strata, but you don't. In fact, bones of the supposed earliest horses have been found at or near the surface. Sometimes they're found right next to modern horse fossils. But instead of me listing all of the challenges here, I'll quote the evolutionary.
You know, before you do that, it's weird, James. We have been using
steel.
That is, yes, the guy who is often was. Is that Stephen Jay Gould or is it the guy? But I want to just bring something up. All right, let's just look at something here. All right, because AI is a tool. All right, it takes our inputs, hopefully good inputs, and gives us good outputs. All right, this is Google's AI overview. Fossil horse series is a sequence of fossils that show the evolution of horse over time. It's great. We could look over how it goes over 55 million years. The fossil record shows that horses originated in North America at least 55 million years ago. Over time, horses evolved from larger bodies, teeth, and moved from tropical forests to prairies. And at each one of these, the AI actually gives us a source. It tells us, well, actually, you go to biology, you go to Royal Society. If it's actually in Facebook, why is this a good thing? Because it's the Florida Museum of Natural History. And so we can do this with a variety of these and get good sources for where the AI generated from. But there's like this weird paragraph down here. See if this sounds familiar, James. However, some say that the fossil horse series is not irrefutable proof of evolution. They point out the earliest horse fossils are not found in the lowest rock strata, as would be expected if the series were true. Instead, bones of the supposed earliest horses have been found near the surface, or even not to modern horse fossils. It's weird, isn't it? That sounds like something I've heard, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I could have sworn we've heard that before.
That's weird. I wonder what the source is, James.
Huh.
I mean, would you like to gamble a guess? I told you I would wait so I could truly ask you. Just take a guess. Yeah. There's 1,000 places that we could get sources from, James. Probably hundreds of thousands, millions.
MikeTyson.org.
You're somehow getting closer. Wait, no, further. I'm not sure.
Pineapples on pizza.
It could be anything, but James, it's Answers in Genesis.
Oh,
Isn't that crazy? Huh? Who would have thought? And it's just, I love how this just, and I saw this with other searches that I quarried when I brought up this video. But we talked about, I don't know if we did this before as we were getting ready or not, but how they're fraudsters. Like, they may have Canada at the end of their name, and so maybe they're like, they say I'm sorry or thank you after they scam you, instead of, you know, just leaving you out to dry.
While they go eat their poutine and drink their Molson Ice.
Yes. Because I guarantee you.
So were they fucking with the algorithm? Do they have people on payroll just to fuck with the algorithms to get this shit, like, caught by the AI and get integrated into these articles?
Let me tell you, it doesn't happen through God.
Yeah.
And so that is why we just
on the payroll to figure out how to manipulate and get this caught up in AI algorithms, so it'll treat it as, you know, legitimate commentary on this instead of crack pottery.
And what is up, Arbiter? So my qualifications on this specific subject are that I am a layperson like the creationists. High five. High five. Yeah. I mean, I have an academic background, but it's in no subject relevant to other than the fact that James and I are interested in the subject.
Who we get? Who's somebody's caught us and got some attention, and we love it. Getting
I mean,
interesting characters in here.
I can't help it. I mean, James knows.
It's the evolution that gets them. They really. That's what they look for. They must like do searches for like live streams with evolution.
But can I tell you, it's because they have nothing. I mean, no offense, creationists. I love you. But like, if they have very good questions that they want to ask us, oftentimes, sometimes not so good, but oftentimes they have great questions, and yet they want logistics from us, and they will never give us logistics, James. My favorite, and you could pick any animal, any organism, but I just say, make me a giraffe. How did God do it? And I have not gotten any better than.
But you think the giraffe came from a protista or a mosquito?
Yes, I love fucking the amoeba one. The amoeba one I'm becoming obsessed with because of how interesting amoeba are and how generic and vague that they are as a species. They are truly in every category. There is a type of amoeba that is plant, animal, fungi, and single-celled. And then they look at us and they go, you think you're related to that? Well, I mean...
Is Amy related to a banana? I don't care if she can stick a banana up where you know where. I don't care about that. But is she related to it?
Yes. And it's the banana tree. They love to show us basically the reproductive organ and go, you think you're related to that? Yes. I mean, it'd literally be like me holding up a Johnson and being like, you think this is related to other organisms? I mean, hopefully attached to something, but yes.
A giraffe uterus?
It would be. It'd be like holding up a uterus. Yeah. Anyway, yes. They really do. They're trying to game the system, but that's fun. Always fun. They got God on their side, but apparently they need that too. God needs a little help.
Fallen world, Amy. It's Satan's world. They're not going to win every time.
That's right.
They have to be a light to the world.
At the American Museum of Natural History, Dr. Niles Eldridge. I admit that an awful lot of that has gotten into the textbooks as though it were true. For instance, the most famous example still on exhibit downstairs in the American Museum is the exhibit on horse evolution prepared perhaps 50 years ago. That has been presented as literal truth in textbook after textbook. Now, I think that's lamentable, particularly...
You know why it's lamentable? Because you're taking him out of context of a 30-year-old quote when he was talking about 50 years ago. So, at that time. And that's because he has created better, more sophisticated models. That does not disprove evolution, just because we had to get here to begin with.
Because the people who propose these kinds of stories themselves may be aware of the speculative nature of some of the stuff. So obviously the horse evolution series isn't irrefutable proof of evolution either.
I think that thing grows exponentially.
Yeah, I think that's more than 4 or 5.
We go pull up the comment, see what right in their comment section.
Now listen, I won't do this for any other episode, but he seemed triggered by comments, and someone went out of their way to do it, so I feel like this is fair play.
Oh, he didn't mention the horses.
Did I mention horses? Oh, we want 1, 2, 3. Oh, we got vestigial. Okay. Well, let's keep on rolling then. Nonetheless, I found their AI adventure in horses, so I'm satisfied with that because I did not see that coming. I couldn't have predicted that in doing research for this episode.
It's an Easter egg.
Well, maybe by 1893, they'd show you the good stuff, the so-called scientific evidence of vestigial organs inside of us. These were supposed evidence of useless leftover parts inside us from our supposed...
And are you saying vestigial organs no longer exist? Or they're no longer part of evolution? No, he's somehow going to do none of that, and we're going to continue.
evolutionary past. And by this time, evolution-believing scientists like German anatomist Robert Widersham was claiming that our bodies contained over 86 of these useless organs, including...
Yes, back then, when we didn't know as much as we do now.
Including the thymus, tonsils, adenoids, valves and veins, the parathyroid, and the pineal and pituitary glands. Of course, not only have all now been shown to be functional, but some have been shown to be critical for life itself. Today's doctors would consider that old list laughable. And over the years...
Oh, you mean they
the list
consider
of
100-year-old
so-called
medical ideas to be laughable? Like back when the time when they were still using leeches for medical treatment? Yeah.
Yes, it is taking a look at old medical textbooks and being, this is outdated, evolution is wrong.
That's a non sequitur.
And no, we are not
listening.
creationists. We are skeptics. I would say that it would be creationists versus evolutionists. That's what they like to call us. But I just like to say people who accept biology.
Scientific facts.
Yeah.
organs has shrunk to a handful of highly questionable examples, even within the evolutionary community itself. Even the most commonly touted of all, the appendix, is now recognized as a highly specialized organ with a rich blood supply that manufactures several types of antibodies. It's not some useless relic. And it's not just the fact that these vestigial...
Yet, when it gets infected, you die if they don't get it taken out, which seems to be a pretty bad design element, since people live just fine without it.
Exactly. And so vestigial organs are going to exist because of a specific pressure going away. And so you're going to be left with things that may not be as used as they once were. And so we may have healthy bacteria within them. They may help helping our immune system. But as James said, we don't need them in the same capacity as our heart and lungs. And so when we remove it, we no longer need them. And so to survive. And so it's not proof that evolution isn't real. And again, are you just trying to say that vestigial organs don't exist? Or this not being a vestigial organ means that evolution isn't true? Because that doesn't make either way.
Because there's still plenty of arguments you can make about bad design, things that are needlessly overly complex and, redundancies and just bad designs in organisms. We have many as humans. Like we just said before, the use of the same pipe for air and liquid eating is not probably the best design.
Yes, can cause choking, even though I'm going to drink coffee now anyway.
Organ claims kept getting knocked off the list. It's the fact that the whole concept itself is a terrible proof of evolution to begin with. Ultimately, evolution is about how supposedly new structures, forms, functions, and features came to exist, not about the degeneration of existence.
Yeah, but that's part of it. That's part of it. It's all part of evolution.
And vestigial organs come about from natural selection. Okay.
Structures over time. Something that used to have a function but no longer does is no direct help to the story of evolution. So these once great proofs of evolution...
No help for the creation either. So.
And all right, I know vestigial organs is one. So we'll do. The later discovery that appendix plays a role in the immune system doesn't disprove evolution. Evolution predicts that organs can change and acquire new functions over time. Additionally, some organisms still possess organs that have lost their original function, which supports evolution's concept of change accumulating over time.
Womp, womp, womp.
Now, by 1912, you'd finally have been shown some truly dynamic fossil evidence found in a gravel pit near Piltdown in England. The skull of an ancient ape man dubbed Piltdown Man was presented as overwhelming proof of our evolutionary ancestry. And for 40 years, this supposed proof was displayed in museum exhibits and textbooks as
almost immediately known as a fake.
Proof positive that human beings had descended from ape-like ancestors.
That's what peer review is for.
Hand-drawn scientific images of what the creature must have looked like. But once again, 4 decades later, the evidence was re-examined and revealed as a fraud. It wasn't even a good fraud, as you could easily see how the teeth from a jawbone had been filed down to make them look more human, and the bones had been chemically treated to make them look very old.
How did they learn that? Science.
It was simply a combination of an old human skull and a modern ape jawbone stuck together. So much for that proof of evolution.
Yes, it was a fraud that was figured out through the peer review process.
And you know what? They had no problem taking it out of the textbooks when they discovered it was fraud.
Pit down, man. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm going to hold back because he does the last one for both of them.
Okay.
Everyone can look at my seal. Boo doo doo doo. Doo doo. James, Gizmo's going to beat me. Where was the...
What happened? You closed the YouTube? Browser crash?
Trying to find... Yeah?
Ronald Moultrie at the Defense Department cut your stream on?
He might have. All right, that's okay. I'm just going to find it again because we knew we're at the last one. We're on the
of what the creature old. It was simply a combination of an old human skull and a modern ape. Evidence for evolution when a Nebraskan rancher found what he thought was a special kind of tooth. Revolution went on. Just 5 years later in the U.S., they found some powerful evidence for evolution when a Nebraskan rancher found what he thought was a special kind of tooth on his farm. And an evolution-believing paleontologist friend of his was excited at the prospect it must have come from an ape man. And after an artist applied a healthy helping of evolutionary imagination to his picture, he produced a portrait of Nebraska Man, a hairy ape man, along with his ape woman wife in a scientific journal. And this was touted as great scientific proof for evolution.
Once again.
However, several years later...
Once again, someone tried to create a fraud, and then scientists figured out what it was and corrected it. Wasn't creationist, wasn't a priest. Scientific process. In action, baby.
Scientists confirmed that the tooth had come from a pig. The whole fiasco had...
James, can I just tell you how this whole episode somehow just always comes back around? It's been...
Yeah.
Nolan, call us. Call us.
Nothing to do with apes or people. It had everything to do with evolutionary presuppositions that drove false conclusions, all based on laughably flimsy evidence. So you can toss that proof of evolution away as well.
No, you can't.
No, because once again, something being wrong doesn't mean that evolution is wrong.
It's not anything that we rely on today as proof.
It's also hundreds of years ago.
The fact that somebody made a mistake that
100
has been
years
realized, you know, so.
La da da da. Keep on trying to get. Ha 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 ha. All right, the final one. These examples of scientific fraud were real, but they don't represent the entirety of evolutionary science. The fact that these errors were identified and corrected is part of how science works. Theories are refined as new evidence emerges. These isolated cases don't undermine the entire theory of evolution, which is backed by a massive body of credible fossil and genetic evidence. And I really want to lay, a mountain on that last two things there. Because let's just finish what we have started before we reveal, if our gang has left us, James. There's no gang left.
Yeah,
we were all
we're
buddy.
But wait, by 1917, just 5 years later in the U.S., they found some powerful evidence for evolution when a Nebraskan rancher found what he thought was a special
Okay, no.
conclusions, all based on laughably.
Oh, I found the original video that I was looking for. I had too many because what happened with this research? I have 1,000 tabs. So if you could only see the other, but I got into the weeds with this video because none of the ones that they went over were anything that. Okay, I'm breaking my reveal here.
Flimsy evidence. So you can toss that proof of evolution away as well.
All right. I mean, we went over the best proofs debunked, and so clearly,
I'd say they're either not proofs or not debunked.
And these are the two things that I talk about, that I think you talk about in debates. I feel like they are the pillars. Coincidentally, I didn't even notice this the first time. The AI seems to be teeing me off because, quite simply, I have the fossil record and genetics. I think those are the two strongest pillars that we currently have for evolution. And James, I don't know about you, but when I first watched this video, I was severely disappointed. I thought we were building up to like modern science, and the most modern we got seems to be 100 years ago.
Yeah, they really didn't touch in the. I don't remember anything after the 1950s.
You know what? I guess this video is gone.
There you go.
It didn't even bounce. Hold on. Take two. Boop. There we go.
Imagine going on every page where you find something that's blatantly wrong or blatantly absurd, just ripping it out of the Bible. Wouldn't be much left.
Well, that's the favorite quote. If Jefferson decided to make a Bible, and it's about the size of a pamphlet. I am trying to look for it because I have it somewhere here. I'm trying to look in my religion section. But yes, basically. Hey, Flatland. No, that's science. Hey, James, did you know that this book is gay? I just want to trigger people.
Which book? I couldn't see. Oh, okay. I see it now. Not just the history of Skittles.
Not just the history of why the green M&M is sexy.
The green Skittle. Because they committed apostasy when they changed the green from lime to that nasty green apple. And then they had to change it back. So people stopped buying it.
They also changed the name of Siri. Or not Siri, Sierra Mist. Siri.
No, it's Starry's a completely different soda. It's not just rebranded Sierra Mist.
So okay, what's the difference? Help me out here.
The flavor profile is completely different.
Really?
Yeah, I think Starry was made to compare. It's like a slightly.
It's Sprite.
It's more like Sprite, whereas I think Sierra Mist would have been closer to like a 7-Up, I guess.
Okay. The fight of the lemon lime sodas.
Yeah, lemon lime sodas.
Dun, dun, dun. But yes, my goodness, the amount of wisdom that we gleaned tonight, James.
Was pretty breathtaking, wasn't it?
I just feel like, not only did we learn that they're using AI, trying to hijack AI, which is...
I didn't realize they were that technically inclined. They
And I shouldn't phrase it like that. I should say they're trying to put in inputs into specific AI programs. But
that make AI think their stuff is like trusted or valid commentary on the topic.
It makes it feel like it's a reliable source.
Is this a valid input?
Yes, and arguments from. I mean, I think it's funny that he's like, we're going to go all the way back to Darwin and then basically use no arguments that, from the book. But once again, I would like to ask all of you, if you did the exercise along with me, did he cover your arguments and best defenses for why you believe in evolution? Anything, James? Did he hit anything?
Even if you want to get more technical, like the proofs like the ERVs, that's a very technical proof that the creationists don't do a very good job refuting. So specific and scientific. But in general, yeah, just the fossil record, genetics, they provide solid basis for evolution. Most of the things that he pointed out were ancillary and taken out of context, misstated, misunderstood, strawman. They really didn't attack any of the pillars of evolution, just nitpicking and trying to,
going through very obscure both events in the type
horse evolution,
and then things with horse evolution where I think they are purposely trying to muddy,
obfuscate.
Yeah. But yeah, what a bunch of fun. Not only are they answering in Genesis, but they're not assholes. They're nice assholes because it's.
They'll still beat you to death, but they'll put a felt cover over the ball bat before they do it.
Yes. Sending love to Randolph, though. And all right, James, unfortunately, in a second, we're going to have to close shop because got to go to bed. But it was a lot of fun, and we can do another episode up and coming. Maybe I'll be able to do well. We'll do 2, but at least one up and coming on the weekend.
You think? I think he's down for it. He's okay with it.
Yeah. Gizmo is so cute. Okay, I just have to do. Yes.
Say hi,
Yes.
Gizmo.
It's good to see Gizmo back.
It is. Yeah, ERVs, really good scientific proof of evolution. Things like junk DNA, more specific. Elements of bad design. Yeah, it's just a very broad-based, comprehensive theory. It's really hard to disrupt it by just pointing out a few little things that, even those you're taking out of context, but it's a very robust theory, well-founded.
Yes. I love when they take famous biologists, people sometimes known for being in the field of studying evolution, and try and quote them against evolution.
Richard Dawkins or Stephen Jay Gould.
Exactly. The amounts of mental gymnastics that they have to go through. I guess it's more of a nonlinear editing, more of a film editing gymnastics than anything. But yes, let's send out all of our love. This has been a fantastically fun episode.
Our knees do suck.
There are so many. Also, this is James. Can I tell you what question I've been dying to ask creationists? And it's such a dumb question. And yet only biologists can explain it. And it's because of my recent, taking class that I only know this. But I want to know why we formed butt first. All right? I want to know why. I want to know when, as an organism, I don't know if everyone knows this, but as a baby's being formed, it's not the heart and the lungs that form first. It is not any type of sensory organ that forms first. Very specifically, it is our butt.
The first thing you got to do is have a way to excrete waste.
Oh, exactly. But it didn't have to be that way. There is a method of having an organism where the mouth forms first.
Right.
Like nature chose us to be butt first, is what I'm saying, and I would just want to know why.
Well, that's like when people will say, like, "Oh, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth because you need to listen twice as much as you need to talk."
See, that's like a good T-shirt or a good saying, but it's not literally true. Maybe you do need to talk twice as much as you do need to listen. What if your whole job is just calling things out to people?
Right.
Again, logistics is not their strong suit. It just all breaks. I'm trying to think. You can put.
I gave you 1 dick and 2 balls.
What is the fucking like the Bible quotes they always read in wrestling? Like those are always good T-shirts. If you have a Bible quote on you in wrestling, that's probably because it's a marketable quote. But all the others are basically
Austin 3:16.
Yeah, there we go, something like that. But like the others are like no one reads the naming of the dukes out at their wedding for some reason.
Maybe at their child's christening, maybe.
Yeah. If you really don't like your new mother-in-law and you're trying to make the wedding go on longer and longer and longer, and you just feel like, and then this duke was named Duke Ha, and then this duke will get this set of land, and then this duke will, and then they're just shoving cake into their eye sockets. The Bible's fun. Best book ever. #1 seller. Yes, this has been an episode of Debunking All, the Best Proof of Evolution.
They did it. We're done.
They did it. We're done. James, we're creationists now, I think,
we have
right?
To be.
We do.
Our gang, we looked behind and our gang wasn't there. They deserted us.
Oh my God, James. There's no gang. All of our people with like knives and guns, which is what I imagine he was imagining in his gun gang. Yes, where we watched a video.
Or just run up and embrace Jesus. Give Jesus a big hug.
Just hug Jesus, call him daddy. James, that would be, first of all, it's not a fucking sky daddy, okay? It's a heavenly father. There's a big difference. The difference is what I tell myself to go to sleep at night.
Do you remember the pastor that kept calling Jesus daddy or dada? Remember the pastor called Jesus dada? Yeah.
Oh my god. Him and what's it called? There's nothing funnier than claiming that not only do you have a sexual relationship with God, but nothing can beat.
Ultimately.
Like, I understand being. I guess. See, now that I think about it, I guess a religion could go any way. But I understand from a Christian perspective why you would want to be submissive to God, and in an Islamic perspective, it's in the fucking name. But James, how can you be a switch with God? How can it be?
If that's what
every once in a while, God comes along in a French maid's outfit and is like, well, I'm kind of like feeling like the other one tonight. How could that be?
Yeah.
And if it was, that would be fantastic. Oh,
that would be a heaven you would want to go to. It would actually be something being done.
I know. At least someone's having a good time. Oh my goodness. Religion. But James, and to the audience out there, if you think that, yes, this is the internet, random people can just say stupid shit to you. We know this person has a channel that he talks to for hours and hours and hours about this to almost no one.
Yeah.
And so
he did at one point. I don't know if he still does it.
Okay, but it's enough data points
for
me to believe, unfortunately, that he's real. Which I don't know if it makes it better or worse. Anyway, you can't topping God. So with that, we hope you enjoyed debunking all of the best proof of evolution in 12 minutes, of course. For a time so good, it only lasted 12 minutes. Asterisk. Yeah, he shoveled in a lot of obscure nonsense, in my opinion. Like, it belongs in scientific history, a scientific history textbook. Okay, cool. That doesn't disprove evolution. That means maybe pick up, I don't know, a textbook from insert modern year now. Past 5 years.
The year 2000, maybe 2010 at least.
Most, if you are an undergrad or graduate student, your professor is looking for like 5 to 8 years, unless relevant otherwise. Because I sometimes say that and they go, oh, I'm trying to write about how this one, how alchemy became chemistry, and you're saying I can't cite papers. But no, it's not about that. The point is, look for more modern papers, because that is where the best data is going to be.
Most up to date.
The most up to date, exactly.
If you read a paper from 2000 versus 2015, which one's going to have more data points? Obviously, the one from 2015. So
exactly. It doesn't mean that if there hasn't been anything written on a topic since 2000 that we can't cite the thing in 2000, or that if we're doing something we can't have it as a compilation as our sources. But look for more modern sources. Also, look for sources. A lot of these, they will just send it out into a void. Even when I did with the AI, even when you're on Wikipedia, they will have sources. Yes, Wikipedia has become more reliable because a lot of people always go, well, anyone can edit it, and that's true to a certain degree. Yes, there's actually, because there's a lot of both rules and norms on Wikipedia that keep it, generally speaking, a decent place to get quick information. And that is because originally, people were just putting things in place and anyone can edit whatever. They have things, for example, when a current event is updating, they add warnings that this is updating and changing info. If you don't have a source, there's a way to actually call out information that you think is incredible, and if the person did put it in there, they would have to go out and then actually put it in a source. Yes. Sponsored by Wikipedia, but also sponsored by Nabisco. Why? Because I like cookies. Sponsor us, Nabisco.
Keebler elves.
Oh my God. We met someone. I say met someone. We've talked to him multiple times who legitimately believes in gnomes. And this is someone, once again, we know is a real person who.
Not a serious person, mind you.
No, that's all about the TV. Yes,
Not a serious person.
But a real person. Yes.
Since evolution is all devolution.
Devolution.
No positive mutations. It's all devolution.
Let me tell you, I believe that in a comical sense, in an idiocracy sense. But no, that's not how it works. You don't de-evolve. If the environment changes, then yes, you can evolve in a different direction, one that may even be like your ancestors. If your ancestors were more aquatic-like creatures, and then all of a sudden there is a new pressure, the water levels go up, and you have to go back to the sea. Do you want a actual example of this? Dolphins, whales. We get our backbones from a specific lineage of fish, different from the type of non-cartilage of sharks. And then they eventually became mammals, just like we were mammals. And these mammals separated. They went back into the water. Now you have whales and dolphins because they are very similar, if not.
No, it's just God decided to make some mammals live on ground and some live in the water. He made water mammals.
Exactly. Water mammals. But that doesn't make sense. Water mammals. Because if you go water mammal and you accept mammal as a category, then that means you have to accept all of the other stuff that came before it.
That's where you go wrong.
There shouldn't be any reason in creationism, there shouldn't be any reason for a dolphin to be closely related to us. It should be as far away from us as a plant, as a single cell. Whatever. Creationists. Don't you love them? Oh my goodness, grifters. But yes, I do want to thank everyone out there. I do want to thank my co-host, James W., as well as all the lovely people in chat, our awesome mods who make the stream so great, and lovely viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, please don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe. Yay! Then hit that bell icon to all so you can join our live streams or see our premieres. Or hey, why not leave a comment once the video is done? James, why do you we made this joke already, and yet every time I can't. Listen, why do gays have a gay voice? But that's not even. First of all, it's not true. But of all the people to bring up, like seriously, it'd be like it'd be like a heterosexual man walking into just a group of people and being like, oh my God, why are you guys acting so flamboyant and gay? I mean, I guess you do you. A therapist and you. Do. What were we talking about? Yes. You can also join us at the Skeptic Ranting Discord server down below. James, did you know I have ADD? It's now I've learned ADHD. Now it's all one thing. There used to be a delineation. There is a delineation within ADHD. I'm trying to remember what the delineation because there's a difference between my brother.
Too distracted to remember.
I'm too distracted. But I recently watched Skylar Fiction versus a Darth Dawkins AI voice bot, and
what is that? They made an AI with Darth Dawkins quotes, and it just spouts off stupid piece up.
They had to have fed it videos, I would imagine, if you're getting that voice and that Candace and stuff.
Feed it a bunch of Darth Dawkins bullshit and tell the AI, here, act like you're this idiot.
But can I just tell you, and I have to give a warning out there, and I feel bad, but Darth, your days are numbered. They said, Gary, yeah, let's be frank. Gary, we were told, we were warned. This episode had a lot of AI. We were told that automation, AI, it's going to be
to make Dawkins obsolete.
It is. I'm sorry, but I feel like your day job may be gone. I feel like it had enough condescension and almost enough anger and disgust about to hit the kick button that I feel like his job is just.
It did a good job in him.
It did a good job being him. Gary, dinner's done. Yes.
I have a business meeting to attend to. I'll be back in about half an hour.
I'll be right back. I'll defeat you, atheist, then. But yes, we would also send love to all of our fantastic channel members with our evolving badge system, which you can join right below, because evolution, as we can tell from this episode, triggers creationists. Though the best way to help us make even more content is by heading over to Patreon and going to patreon.com/Amy Newman. And I am Amy Newman, and with James W., we will see you on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z. Good night, everyone. Mwah.